How's it going, guys? Good to see so many of you here right on time. We're _wet. Thank you for the resub. It is not, in fact, Talos. But if you guys aren't already following Wet, please do. The two of us have been co-oping lately on Talos 2, and it has been a lot of fun. We're just working our way through the DLC now. Who else is here? Scrubby is here. Mara's here. I already said hi. Calvin's hi. Hello, hello, everybody. Shoe Snorter as well. Stinger, Jesus, Damasi. So many people saying hello. Oh my god. Yakut X Miranda Romance. True. True. And Banana. Oh my god. Okay. I'm hoping that's it for all the hellos. If I missed you, I'm very sorry. But apparently I need to duck out immediately for a kitty break, which I don't know is technically a break since the stream hasn't even really started yet, but you know, it counts. It counts. Y'all want to see the cat? I will acquire the cat. So let's do the large camera. BRB with the true star of this stream, as we all know. I forgot the name. Wonder who that could be. I don't know. You can try to bait if you like. It's still allowed. It is still allowed. This cat is also allowed. In both senses of the word. She's allowed to be a cat, and she is often a loud cat. So, it's a car. Car. Vroom vroom. She says vroom? Maybe? No. Not quite. She says meow. And bee, sometimes. Side of head nuggies today are what is desired. I go meow. I go meow. I go meow. Go meow. I don't know who I am. Look away, away. If you guys don't know Kifness on YouTube, he is a very cool YouTuber. I know it was sad to hear, but forever immortalized. Forever immortalized. But yeah, Kifness does songs with cats, basically, finds cats that have interesting sounding meows and writes music to go along with them, and it is very good. This cat is also very good. She is not much of a musician, though. She's more of just a yeller. And a cuddler and a purrer and a lot of other things, but not the most lyrical of sounds. Does she play Red? I don't know. Who's your favorite character, Helvetica? No? No answer? She plays Cat. That is true. She absolutely does play Cat. I'm sorry, killers. You can appreciate mine through the magic of the internet at the very least. Is the best I can offer at this time. Cats are good, though. Cats are very good. You guys hear the purrs? She is big purr. Snuggly baby. The cat in the gif of the cat tackling the Baha'i. Full of cats and cat memes. Sign of a well-curated social media feed, if you ask me. Switching sides again? Okay. Hello. Please look at camera. Camera is over here. Cat. No, just wanna be flompy. Okay. Yep, okay. Sure. Thank you for that. Thanks for that, baby girl. Who needs to be able to see anyway? Seeing things is overrated. I do not need glasses. This cat is close enough to appreciate up close, and what else would I possibly need to appreciate in this entire world? True. Switching sides again, okay. One more time. The car. Spreadsheets. She's not a very spreadsheety cat, I don't think. In fact, a lot of the time when I'm working on spreadsheets, she will come over and interrupt me because I'm paying attention to spreadsheets instead of her, and that is unacceptable. Are there spreadsheety cats? I don't know. Might be. Does she glug in Act 2 hallways? She does like drinking things. She does like lapping at any available liquid that has been left out. So I'm gonna go with yes. Hates spreadsheets. Confirmed. Just a little loaf now. Bear versus Helvetica Glug Urge competition live on Peacock. True. Alright. Never would glug. Never. It's impossible. I have never seen Mara glug a potion in my entire life. It's true. Baby. She's a happy baby. More aggressive noogies. Okay, I gotcha. Such a little weirdo. All cats are weirdos in their own ways. This is just a fact of the universe. Bouncy baby. Still not allowed glasses, huh? Okay. Well. Oh, alright. She's getting antsy. Alright, time for Yelly Bean Vid BRB. Yeah.
Are you done?
Ah! I always forget to actually mute the starting soon thingy, so it pops back up every time I switch back to that scene. Anyway, Eve-friendly stream. Good to see you, Aria. Been a while. Hope you are continuing to do well, friend. And yep, strong opinions on both classes and spreadsheets. Respect. Honestly, most of the time, Killers, it's more like cuddle me than it is feed me, really. She is a very needy baby, and I love her for that. Swappers lose again. One of them did. The rest of them, yourself included, in fact, very much did not. Unless by lose you mean have a somewhat less interesting run than usual, potentially. I don't know. Spiritually lost. I don't know. I don't know if I accept that. I saw your deck. Yeah, it was a P-box swap, and those are typically pretty darn strong, and this one, not the biggest exception in the entire world. Not a very defensive P-box, notably. The only defensive card in here directly is the Cool-Headed, and I guess arguably the Recursion if you can line it up with Cool-Headed, but that is no block other than the one Frost Orb and no focus. So floor 1 was a little dicey. Not the most offensive one either, true. Chaos is kind of hit and miss, Tempest being single use, aggregate, amazing utility late game, but not doing quite as much for you early. There's All for One, which is All for One. Recursion is sort of a, it can do a little bit of everything depending. It's one card I've never figured out where to place in the categories breakdown for the winning losing decks tab. But yeah, there's like a big mixed bag of things, but I think these are all pretty much better than strikes and defense. It's not a high bar. Floor 5, why is my deck doing no damage while having skipped literally all damage? True. That is a thing that happens to defect decks sometimes. I think somebody even put that in, or was it one of the comments I remember seeing was exactly that. Why do I have no damage? I ask after skipping every damage card. It's the defect way of things. But yeah, because now that we're on this tab, may as well stay here for a bit. Claw for one. A couple people did actual claw decks with the All for One from the P-Box swap, and having Shuriken in the mix for damage scaling as well. Notably, all 3 people who went claw did swap on this one, so it is easier to make that work when you have a slimmer deck, and swapping lets you have a slimmer deck because you don't have as many strikes and defends to get rid of. They are all gotten rid of for you. This box also had at least 1 or 2 things that exhausted in it, I believe, and obviously the All for One starter, and yeah, I don't know, stuff happens. Buying claw full price, it's true. I copied in the thing you asked me to make sure ended up in the recap stream, but yeah, floating 300 gold buying a single claw over streamline, repair, horn, good potions, etc., etc. You can do some silly things. But notably, one thing I did want to say is on this seed, like, I put a lot of people in the bucket Frost Focus, but I could, if I wanted to, have put literally everybody into the bucket Frost Focus. Like, if you look at the Orb Gen stats, even the people who went Claw had Frost Focus going. Even the people who did, intangible spam had Frost Focus going. It's like, it's, yeah. Yeah, there's Focus here, consume, defrag, consume and defrag, echo forms and such. It's close enough. You had Frost at the very least. But yeah, this was a seed that was rather amenable to Frost Focus spam, and that tends to be rather good on the robot from time to time. So the question is sort of like, here's your baseline. How do you want to win with it, I suppose? And some people felt like winning with Claw and Shuriken and All for One and just 0 cost goofy spam. Some people one with insert or consume. Absolutely, a lot of people had that wombo combo going. Some people won with a billion intangible. Apparitions, Echo Form, Strange Spoon just stay intangible for quite some time, and by the time they eventually run out, you probably have your Frost Focus engine going to block instead, and with a million passive Frost Focus block, who cares that you are no longer intangible? And then, of course, everybody else just doing sort of variants of just your standard Frost Focus things. Some people had like Blizzard stuff going with it. I think Sven had some interesting stuff with like the bomb as Echo Bomb as some main damage dealing happening. So there was different stuff in here, but yeah, it's here's your baseline, choose your favorite way to win. Yeah, I forgot to play app and died. Yeah, that will happen. And that actually is something that I wanted to highlight, not that specifically, but if you look through the losing decks section, most of them are in some way, shape, or form just miss micro. And that's not to like slag people of like, oh, you made a mistake, shame on you, blah, blah, blah. But it's to highlight, if nothing else, A20H is pretty unforgiving when it comes to this stuff. Of like even 1 or 2 relatively small slip-ups can snowball or just catch you off guard in an otherwise difficult fight or, tricky draw order or something. And you can have a strong run that can faceplant absolutely with just, a few of those slip-ups. And you can say because of your own fault. Like, it's good to identify where you could have gone wrong with things, even when it's a little bit less obvious than just dying with an app in hand because of miscounting energy. Like, it's happened to the best of us from time to time. But, yeah, winnable through better play, blah, blah, blah. It's, like, the point I want to make with this is not these are bad plays, but that even strong runs are not unlosable. Right? It's a strong seed, and it can be tempting to go into clicky mode, but it's still the defect on A20. Nothing is guaranteed, and so don't let the attention lapse, I guess, is the biggest lesson there, because feeling impenetrable, invulnerable, whatever, pick your favorite word of choice, and then going, oh crap, I'm out of energy, or oh crap, I didn't actually, I drew into my Echo Form before I could play it and now it's gone, or oh crap, I didn't something, it happens. But yeah, swappers by and large win again if you don't get just horribly gremlin ganged. I think is Arcus being the other swapper, was it Arcus? Potato, roast potato. Yeah, rough Gremlin Gang fight. One of the things that I learned from this one actually is that even the same hallway fight that you see, like everybody is guaranteed to see a Gremlin Gang fight as their fourth fight on this seed, but which exact Gremlin Gang you see is dependent on your path. I didn't know that before this seed. So some people saw Wizard in their Gremlin Gang, other people did not, and that kind of makes a bit of a difference when your deck is still kind of slow and defecty, and especially for swappers, because again, looking at this swap, there's not a ton of targeted damage in here, right? There's a Melter, I guess, but Tempest, non-targeted, Chaos, non-targeted, Storm, non-targeted, Recursion, non-targeted. So you got Melter, and you got All for One for direct damage to try to, bang out a Wizard or something. Yeah, Lightning missing every time. Lightning always cooperates? Does it? We hope it does. But yeah, it can absolutely be a rough fight. It messed up a lot of people. Like, just look at the numbers here. Even the low bar, I mean, we have some 5 and 7s, but like 32, 36, 49, 46, 24, 30. Like, this is a floor 4 fight that's doing more than most elites do in terms of damage. Gremlin Gang friggin' sucks. Yeah, I don't know what to tell you there, but yeah, Gremlin Gang sucks, especially when you get a bad combination of gremlins. So this can absolutely be something of like, I guess potion use could be a lesson to take away from that. I'm not sure if and when what potions dropped on this seed, but just in general of like pay attention to, hoarding potions for an escape hatch, because you might need them even against hallway fights. Like, you don't necessarily just stockpile potions for elites, you stockpile them sometimes for a really bad Gremlin Gang. Dodge the whole act and learnt that swap can farm 3 elites act 1. Yeah, most people in fact did. If we look over here, almost everybody took the 3 elite path, including swappers. I broke down the path detail sheet. I grouped it up a little bit differently this time to show almost everybody took the exact same path here in Act 1. The campfire sandwich of rest elite rest after 1 advanced hallway and a question mark into, the double elite in the second half of the act. Chom just going max hallways, farm all of the combats, find all of the seeds. A couple people being a little bit more conservative with their directions. Did you path like an 18 in Act 1? No, you took the same path as like almost everybody. Almost everybody here. So, yeah. But yeah, please farm, I suppose, being the lesson. And that wasn't like completely meow dependent. Like, we've seen some Act 1s where it's like very obvious of, everybody who swapped farmed max elites and nobody who swapped took min elites kind of thing. But this time it's pretty distributed, pretty mixed up of, people who took the 250 dodging elites, I think makes a lot of sense. It was 254 damage, so you're starting from behind and have to be a little bit more careful about where you spend your HP and how you can rest back up to not get completely owned. But otherwise, yeah, pretty spread out. Ari's off to do some work. Glad to catch a stream. Have a wonderful day and night yourself, Aria. See you around. But yeah. Act 1 pathing, pretty consistent. Act 2, a little bit more all over the place. Most people went for the floor 4 shop, especially given that most people did not get a shop at all in Act 1. A bunch of people took the late shop in the act, but, Act 1 was high rolling so hard, figured any risk is too much risk, so no elites. Yeah, and that's a very valid thing. Of when you're on a high roll, it's sort of a judgment call of, is this so much of a high roll that I can just farm and it doesn't matter because I will own any elite that I see? Or is it, this is so much of a high roll that I'm already winning, I don't need to introduce any additional risk of getting owned by an elite, I can afford to play it safe. And that kind of comes down to how we think about what is a high roll in my mind, right? Because there's, like, this game has so much context to it, and you can have something that's a high roll for now, but that won't necessarily stay being a high roll late game. And so in those situations, it's okay, let me convert this immediate value while I still can before things fall off. And other times it's like, no, I actually have a pretty good package for Act 4 already. I just need, a few more removes or upgrades or like 1 or 2 other key cards that I can probably find somewhere along the line in a shop, in a random hallway fight, whatever. And so playing it safe gets me there. I have the package I need already. And knowing when you are in one bucket versus the other of those is sort of a, it gets easier to spot with just reps, right? Pattern recognition. I don't know that there's too many hard and fast rules for it, but yeah, judgment call in either direction here I can absolutely see on this seed. But yeah, a lot of people farming 3 elites in Act 2 as well. More of a mixed bag, especially given the wing boots, I believe, were on this seed. Maybe? Am I crazy? Am I mixing that up with something else? I might be mixing that up with a different seed. I don't know. Anyway, Act 3 was back to pretty much the same thing again. Almost everybody doing, again, the 3 elite path with just a crap ton of hallways and only the 1 event. Seed had boots. Okay, thank you. Act 3 was forced. That makes sense. I should have guessed that, also considering everybody who submitted with Run History Plus got their green key in Act 3. So yeah, if you're making it to Act 3 and you still need your green key, there's your path locked in. Unless you still have boots or you have the green key but didn't have Run History Plus. Act 1, 2 had it at some garbage area. Understandable. So yeah, that makes sense. I don't know that there's a ton of other really interesting insights along these lines here. I think it's mostly just kind of pretty standard stuff. So let's jump back to the tabs I skipped over. I think we mostly skipped the Niao because I jumped over to the winning deck stuff. But yeah, swappers win again. 250 pickers is a tricky one. 250 is a lot of early value, but also there wasn't an early shop to make use of it available on this seed, at least not one that anyone was able to hit up. And damage is a pretty scary downside if there are no good rest sites to rest back up, or if you just get a random low roll, like for example, a really bad gremlin gang. Hypothetically, who knows, right? Like it can just hit you out of nowhere. Damage can be a free Niao, maybe, sometimes, it depends. Not necessarily here. Although, one of the 2 people who took it did manage to convert the run to a win. If that was you, congratulations. Most people did go Common Relic on this seed, which, I think is fair. It's, pretty standard. I'm not actually sure what the 4th option was. I know somebody asked that earlier and I just sort of let it fly in chat because I was babbling about something else. If anybody remembers offhand or feels like checking, let me know. I forgot to double check before recap stream. But yeah, random common is always, it's fine. It's safe. It's, it's an option. It can be high value or low value, but it's not like insanely high variance. It's never going to actively screw you over the same way that damage for 250 can actively screw you over. Upgrade a card, that makes sense. Wait, no, sorry. Yes, it does. Because this is common relic, and so the 4th option would be card related. So yeah. Anyhow, seed was Happy Birthday Wet, and common swap was a wet stone. Yes, I actually didn't put that together, but that's good. Happy Birthday Wet stone. With the double strike hit, because that's, all it can hit from the defect starter deck. Yeah. Looking at the deaths in more detail, a couple people in Act 1, Gremlin Gang, and just, a rough getting knobbed happens to the best of us from time to time. Act 2 also gets a lot of us. Took apps, think it was correct, and then just, how does attention work? Not paying attention to energy counting happens to the best of us. First A20 defect to the Act 2 boss. Congrats on that, Avery. And yeah, Fission upgrade is definitely a judgment call type situation. Releasing Echo Form and losing that one can't be played. Macro mix of stuff. I don't know. I'm just rambling. And again, these are sort of the what I was saying earlier of just like little micro mistakes compounding in general can get the best of us. Like boss relics, again, swappers win again. Who would have thought? I can't remember which of these was the one that swappers see that non-swappers do not, but Sozu, literally free energy. Anyone? Tiny House, also very free. Definitely, 100%. These are also, kind of symptomatic of if your run is in a strong enough state that you can afford to, take one of these guys. Or actually, sorry, the P-Box is the only really high loss option on the mix, and that's the only one that swappers do not see for sure because they already have it. So, any of these, Tiny House, Cage, Sozu, I think there are decent arguments for if those are the three that you are seeing as a swapper. You've had Act 1 to get your swap deck in good shape. Cage, Sozu, something. Yeah. Tiny House, perhaps. Yeah. I don't know. Sozu was very good, but had to go infinite. Must with the Cage, I presume then. Too tired to think. Sozu, an empty Cage. Don't know what to remove, so clicked House. Yeah, valid. Just, it's better than Skip. It doesn't do anything bad, necessarily. And then Black Star for the farmers. Inserter is, scaling. Frozen Core, obviously, if you did not swap, is an option. Inserter consume things happening for a lot of folks on this run. Fun little wombo combo there. Yeah. I don't know. Stats. Start to catch up to all the elites that you dodged in Act 1 and 2. True. Especially considering the green key path was force 3 elites if you did not wing boots jump around. So, get that value. What were the standout cards of the seed? Keygasm. True. Cold Snap, Defrag, Go for the Eyes. Every single winning deck had these cards in them. They are good cards. The only weak chain card on the defect, Focus. It says Focus on it. Cold Snap, it makes a Frost Orb. Great early pickup as well because it deals a little damage. Sender's Bane, great card. 100% of winning decks have it. Doesn't seem to increase your win rate at all though, which is interesting. Whether you do or don't pick a Sender's Bane, you're equally likely to win. I don't know what's up with that, but everyone's still picking it, so it must be good. Echo Form is a good card. Who would have thought? I don't know. Dual Cast absolutely sucks. This is almost certainly an artifact of P-Box, of if you don't have any strikes or defends to remove, then you're more likely to remove Dual Cast, especially losing the starter Lightning Orb for it. So if you still have Dual Cast in your deck, it means you probably didn't swap when they play on A9 and submit. Hell yeah. Consume, we just talked about the Consume Inserter Wombo combo, but even if you don't take Inserter, there were capacitors on the seed. Even if you don't have capacitor, there are just loops. Even if you don't have loops, it's just a good card. See First Focus, click First Focus is a rule that, it's not like unbreakable rule, but it will work out more often than it doesn't work out, in my humble opinion. Aggregate, it was in the P-Box, so that's almost certainly inflating stats, but it's also just a very strong late game card. This is one that I will click on even in Act 1 if I feel like I can get away with it, of carry the wound until it wins you the run, because Defect Act 4 is a real thing. Hologram is hologram, capacitor, orb slots, consume, etc., stuff. Electrodynamic sucks, decreases your win rate, do not click. All for one, claw, etc. Again, also in the P-Box, so... These sheets are kind of weird to make sense of when there's a P-Box at play, because it's hard to tell how much things are influenced by the P-Box versus actual, the card is being clicked. I guess I could, in theory, write code to split that out, but that would be way more work, and I don't want to, so we get this instead. Anything notable at the bottom? Nah, just ball lightning with only sample size of 2. Can't believe one with 2 Electros. Based. And no, in case there's any doubt, Electro is a good card. It has, strong uses. It's great. Like what we were just talking about in Act 1 of things were rough early because the lightning's always missing. Just having that consistency was worth a lot by itself. The AoE is strong by itself. Really great in some of Defect's typically roughest matchups in Act 2 of, what's it called? Gremlin Leader can be a hell of a lot easier with an Electro. I always have trouble understanding this tab. That's fair. There are a lot of numbers on it. So I guess the primer I can give you on how I read it. So, obviously, which card are we talking about? Say the defrag. There were 14 winning decks that had a defrag in them, and there were 4 losing decks that had a defrag in them. So some people skipping it, but some people not skipping it. 100% of winning decks had the card in it. So given that this means that it's a card that is very commonly seen in a lot of winning decks. So ones that are down here, being like a 21%, this doesn't mean that Beam Cell is a bad card for this seed. It just means that it's either a more situational one, or it's one that fewer people saw, or it was up against something else strong. Maybe like with the genetic algorithm, it means that not as many people felt like they could greet it, so it's not as broadly applicable. So this column is basically how broadly applicable is it. This is also why you see Ascender's Bane at 100% it's a broadly applicable card. Everybody has an Ascender's Bane, right? But this column, percent win rate when picked. So this is looking at 14 plus 4, 18 people clicked this card, and 14 out of those 18 managed to win. So 78% of the people that had a Cold Snap in their deck managed to win the run. And that's 11% higher than just all of the runs that were submitted for this seed. 67% of the people who submitted full run history managed to pull out a win on this one, and 78% of people who clicked on a Cold Snap managed to pull out a win. So this card, like, the way you can look at it is when you click on Cold Snap for this seed, your win rate is boosted by 11%. Clicking on Ascender's Bane from the opposite boosts your win rate by 0%, because, it's obviously you're not any more or less likely to win with Ascender's Bane in your deck. Everyone has one. It doesn't affect things very much. So these numbers are meant to be viewed sort of like as a pair. If you look at something like this claw, 4-0, only 29% of winning decks had a claw. Most people did not take claw. Most people did not go for claw builds. But the people who did, they all won. If you tried claw, you won with it, and you submitted your run history, of course. So having a situation where claw is good, and you identify that and you lean into it, you're more likely to win in that sense. And of course, all of this is bound up in the big bow of statistics, lies, damn lies, and statistics, whatever that quote is. Because it's all context. Like I was just saying, with the P-Box thing is also by itself a lot of weird context. So it's the, identifying situational things, but broad swath trends, it's kind of interesting to look at the ones that are double green of, a lot of people had them and it performed very, very well, as sort of standout cards for the seed. Every time you play Spire, always tending to silent. I wonder why that could possibly be. Any theories? And yes, there was a shuriken on this seed, which made things a lot more interesting for all for one sort of zero cost spam people. Anyway, let's take a look at event picks. So change versus grow. This is not entirely a swap versus don't swap type situation, but it largely is one. Living Well showed up for a lot of people on floor 2, count it 2. And so if you didn't swap, you don't have a lot of relevant things to upgrade yet. A couple people still upgraded anyway, doing either recursion or zap on a non-swap. Boot even did dual cast on a swap, and Potato did zap on the swap as well, so that's an option. OPM recursion as well, but most people just doing the standard remove mixed bag of strikes versus defense. Wait, I am waiting. Thought you did zap? Apparently not. Remembering literally anything about your run? Interesting. But no, removing dual cast on a swap I think makes a lot of sense. This isn't removal here, but I don't know, dude. Memory is completely dead. True. Early onset dementia. It's unfortunate. Comes for all of us, especially those of us with ADHD. Anyway, not just speaking for myself. Nope, definitely totally not. What was I talking about? Shining light. Two people choosing to enter the light, most people ignoring. I can't remember how early this one showed up. I think it was relatively early, but yeah, at least upgrading. Only one defend for Sans Nickel, Buffer and Glacier, both very nice hits. The man band that won with Shining Light, Sans Nickel. Congratulations. World of Goop, please obtain dollars. Be greedy, unless you're semicolon. Unlucky. Yeah. Pretty split on whether people wanted to become a spooky ghost or not. Bunch of people ignoring it and still winning anyway. This could also, like, to the point we were talking about earlier, of if you're in the situation, this run is high rolling. On average, I win from my current position. I don't need to take the risk of lowering my max HP by that much. But by the same token, there were a lot of things on this seed that spoke well to apparitions, right? Just being the defect in general. I feel like apps... I don't know if you submitted your run history. I can't believe if you did. I am very, very sorry that I missed your file. But yeah, you'd have to DM me your run history file on Discord if you wanted. Maybe wrong DM, possibly. I don't know. I was going to say message me after stream and we'll figure it out, but if you have the wrong DM, then you'd be messaging the wrong person. I don't know. We'll figure it out. Yeah. Right. Apps on defect. So the way that I very often think about apps on defect is defect is typically pretty good at scaling, especially with your Frost Focus. You know, once the Frost Focus engine is set up, you have a billion passive block and nothing matters anymore. But those first couple of turns while you're still getting it set up can be a lot dicier. And so in that kind of deck, I find a lot of the time apparitions can sort of solve that transitionary problem. If you block with apps for the first couple of turns while you're getting all of your scaling in play, and then by the time your apps run out, it doesn't matter anymore because it is in play and you're set up and you're just giga winning. And even on top of that, there were extra things in this seed that spoke very well to apparitions. There's the Echo Form, there's the Strange Spoon, there's just facing the automaton of, you know, having an app on a Hyper Beam turn is, you know, is pretty strong if you weren't able to get set up enough by then. Having to rest both the earlier fires and World of Goop, which meant get 0 upgrades Act 1. Yeah, that's reasonable. That's very reasonable. Yeah. Finding Ag and Meteor Strike in Match and Keep. Interesting combo. Yeah, removing stuff, sure. Maybe that's what you were thinking of, Boot, is removing the zap at Golden Wing rather than at the other whatever it's called. A bunch of people taking the Serpent Gold directly into a shop and then removing the Doubt is, I think, pretty reasonable. Not normally an event that I click on if I don't have a shop, like, right away coming up pretty much, but into it, it's fine. Addict, yeah. Buying an old coin, always a funny trade. Wheel of Change, Scrubby getting the full heal, a couple people getting remove or just money. Pretty kind Gremlin Wheel. Thank you. Memory 3, click this button unless you are already winning the event. You know, some people, in fact, are already winning. You are in here. So, I guess I'm not sure what happened with the other event. Maybe it's just a misremembering situation or something. It's possible it's something fucked up with the import script, but I don't know. You are in here. Mausoleum getting the old coin. Run history plus does not affect this tab. No, you're in here with the username. I can't believe. So it might just be a misremembering thing or a run or a parsing thing. If you're sure that you took the apps on this seed. Yeah, I'm not sure why that would be because you are imported. Yeah, Pink, can you send me a message on Discord? Because I would like to look into this after stream and just check your run history file manually to see if it's in there, because if it is, then I have a bug somewhere in this import script that I would like to track down. Only Avery seeing the face trader and deciding to go for it. I mean, fair, I guess, on defect of, like, if you're doing a lot of your damage with orbs by then, the weak face isn't necessarily as bad, and face trading is fun. But yeah, not something I would ordinarily click. Drug dealer, scrubby killers, scrubby going for the mutagens. Again, not something I normally see on defect, but seems to have worked out for you. Test subject, standard, zap dual cast. Yep, as one does. And then just a bunch of events that only 1 or 2 people saw. What else we got going here? Speed. Banana topping the charts again. Almost an 8-hour run across multiple streams. But it was a win, so can't fault that. Boot, congratulations on winning the clicky competition. OPM behind. 15 entire minutes behind. So slow. SMHing my head. But yeah, notably the top 4 on this seed were all boss swappers. So the P box lets you be a little bit more clicky. Not the most surprising thing in the entire world. Yeah. Damage. Felt quite fast, but saw the time in the end. Yeah. I certainly cannot talk shade. I am such a slow motherfucker when I try to stream these things. I just overthink everything to death, and yeah, see the speed graph again. Also, you can just, if you want to follow along on your own and check anything there. That's, yeah. Them's the speedy charts. But now taking a look at damage, again zooming out just for the 10,000 foot overview. Swappers getting pretty owned by the Jawworm on floor 1. Again, there's no real damage in the deck yet. Or sorry, no real block in the deck yet, and not enough damage to kill ASAP, so not exactly surprising. Did pick up a defensive card on floor 1, and things start to turn around a bit more. Other than the nasty gremlin gang and a pretty rough gremlin knob, most people having, not the best, not the worst Act 1 in the entire world. Not significantly different by, forced 12 on turn 1. Yep. Very rude Jawworm. Curious why your gremlin gang was so much worse. It's possible you got just a worse gremlin gang than people. Or no, we went over this. You took the same path as most people took. So honestly then, I'm not sure. It could be a drafting thing, could be a micro thing. But I would encourage, a lot of people did manage to stream this seed, so if you want to take a peek at people's VODs, people who took relatively similar drafting decisions that you did, you can check on the choices detail tab and just sort of compare directly of who picked the same kinds of cards that I took and did the same kind of path that I pathed on. Find a good analog of someone who submitted a VOD and check it out to compare, because odds are it's probably either a micro thing or just, an awkward drafting thing. And yeah, that's the best advice that I can give, because you can't really get into micro with these kinds of spreadsheets, because that level of detail is just not included in run history. So what are you going to do? But yeah, no huge, other than the Force 12 on floor 1 here, no huge trends that I can see by Niao. It's not like you see this was a completely free Act 1 for people who swapped and really hard for people who did this or whatever else that you'll see on certain seats. I think the only real trend that I can see here is people who did damage for 250 pathed way less aggressively, 0 elites, and 0 elites because dead, because this is a scary Niao bonus that can wreck you. What are you gonna do? Yeah, Magnil having a very clean run. Props where credit is due. Other than getting owned by Hexaghost, but hey, if you're not taking damage in Act 1, you're going into Hexaghost with a lot of health, so have that to spare easily. Elites weren't even that bad, just Gremlin. Yep. Sometimes a Gremlin gang, a bad combo, can be worse than a rough elite. Deck sizes. We have one person with a 22 card deck. Congratulations, Boot, for making the graph stretch all the way out to the left like that. Please go infinite, something, claw. But But yeah, most people in the 30 to 43 card range, very normal, very standard. High bar of 27, count them, 27 relics. Is Black Star farming good? We may never know. Respect. Who rested into the Hexaghost on 39? Avery. All right, so Avery, I'm a little confused about that one, friend. If you were here or if you were watching the VOD later, and I don't mean this in a condescending way, just in a not everybody knows way, but Hexaghost's turn 2 attack scales based on your current HP going into the Hexaghost fight. Oh, streaming right now? Well, maybe she'll watch the VOD afterwards. But yeah, Hexaghost turn 2 attack scales based on your HP. So if you have 11 to 18 HP at the start of turn 2, it will do a 1/6 attack. If you have 12 to 23 HP at the beginning of turn 2, it does a 2/6, and so on and so forth. So resting into Hexaghost is significantly less valuable than resting into any other Act 1 boss, because you're basically only getting like half value out of the added HP because of the attack is called Divider because it essentially divides your HP in half. It's not super weird to do it there by any means. This is the number pre-rest. It's not super weird to do it, but at 39, I think for a lot of decks, there's, it's a healthy enough buffer. And if you have any high prio upgrades, I would almost always look to those ones first. Again, context dependent. Maybe I'm just missing a weird thing about your run and it did make sense to rest there, even regardless of the boss being Hexa. But yeah, actually probably rest if you don't have Thorns. Where were you going into that one? Around 46. Interesting. Okay. Fair enough. Sometimes the defect sucks. Hexaghost is a damage race, and if you think that you aren't able to kill fast enough and you're going to need to tank the Inferno 6x6 and deal with the burn pluses, then yeah, having more of a buffer to just wait that out sometimes is all you can really do. So yeah. Act 2 boss gauntlet, 85 going in. Yeah, not resting there for sure. Throw Thorn and fight still goes 2 turns past Inferno. Oof. Actually, yeah, now I'm curious of, that would be this floor here. Semicolon at a 15-turn Hexa fight. Yikes. How much buffer? Oh, I didn't mean buffer the card. I meant buffer as in the concept. Having the buffer of whatever. Rather die to Hexa than upgrade. Person of principles. I can respect that. Yeah, no super fast Hexa fights here. Low bar being 8 turn. It's not Hexa? Which one is Hexa? What floor would it be? Be 18? Oh yeah, it's this one. I'm dumb. Never mind. Yeah, because that's the mid-act chest. And so, yeah, everyone has to fight Hexa. I'm not paying attention. Thank you guys. Makes more sense. So yeah, there were some 5, 7 turn Hexa fights, but a bunch of 8s, 9s, and a 14 from Magnil. Damn. That certainly puts the whatever it was, 33 damage in context a little bit there. VM on 5, yeah, with boss swap into Claw is Law. 42 turn first boss fight. That was into Awakened One. 42 turned Awakened One. 48 turn Awakened One. Ow. Presumably stalling for something. Not sure what exactly, but I'm sorry, friends. 8. Amplify self-repair. Understandable. Yep. Get every extra little bit of HP you can into the second boss fight. We looked at path stuff already, so let's look at drafting picks. Normally I just have the little trophy icons here, but I added a swap icon here because of this first floor, mainly, of people who swapped took Steam Barrier, people who didn't swap mostly took Rebound. And again, this is an artifact of, the P-Box only had that one single Frost Orb in it for defense. So yeah, you see a defensive card, you probably click on it. A couple people taking Steam Barrier even outside of the swap, which I think is reasonable. Rebound isn't exactly the most exciting card in the entire world, but, it's damage, it's utility. You can do some fun stuff with it. Again, also over here, I meant to move this up to the top and then I forgot, just so all of the swappers are on top for consistency. But yeah, most swappers choosing to upgrade again because you have more upgrade targets. Outside of this one, it's just a U and open. Yeah, and that one's kind of implied. So yeah, give a lot of context to some stats. I may consider adding one just in general going forward. It's a little dicey on some tabs to not just become like an overwhelming amount of detail to parse out, but yeah, where it's relevant, I will absolutely look to add it in, like here. Yeah, most people just doing the transform. It's floor 2. I mean, yeah, usually that is a play, but upgrading either a P-Box card or upgrading even like, your zap, given that it's floor 2 and you have other stuff largely solved by the swap and you don't need a random transform, also makes sense. Mildly surprised that no swappers did dual cast remove here, but all for one. Yeah, that's another good reason to upgrade zap. True. Chom being the only one on the hyper aggressive farm all the hallways path, just hanging out on their own track. But in here we have Barrage, Gopher, and Equi, all I think very valid picks. Equi being pretty high pick rate and win rate on this one. Gopher, again, it also plays into the all for one for the swappers. Once again, yeah, I don't know what else to say about those. Everybody removing at Golden Wing, I think is reasonable. Glacier, it says Glacier on it, the card. But if you're feeling you need a little bit more damage, I think that's reasonable. The boot sequence, I think maybe thinking of the all for one potentially again as a reason to go for that on a swap over the Glacier, but it's the Glacier card, I don't know. And up here we have Cold Snap, Gopher, and Equi. Glacier Boots snap screen was so cringe. What made it especially cringe in your mind? I am curious. Yeah, another Cold Snap pretty much right away. So anyone who clicked it here, punished. Yeah, Gopher again with the all for one. Another Cold Snap. Oh, this is the same card reward, just seeing it slightly later. You click Glacier, but you're probably supposed to click Snap, but then never punished. Fair enough. Taking a quick skim through the rest of Act 1 beyond that. People upgrading Static Discharge, which I guess was a transform from floor 2 for people who did that option. And a couple people upgrading Gopher for Weak Chain, Zap to proc all for one, or to work with all for one. Self-repair, great card. It's just kind of insane. I don't know what else to really say about that. Some people seeing it here, some people seeing it there, and this is what you'll see for a lot of Act 1 stuff, which you can see here a bit more clearly as well, is this card reward and this card reward are identical. It's just some people see it a floor earlier versus later depending on pathing. Like if you go to an event floor before this, then you'll see this set later. So when you look at these guys, it's like, the people taking self-repair are spread out a bit. Cold Snap, Glacier, spread out a bit, and so on and so forth. But it's just a high-level peek at it. Clicking Buffer, clicking Glacier, ignoring Shining Light of just not necessarily worth the risk for a lot of people. FTL and Repair, again, solid card options. Skim card, amazing in late game if you can afford to greet it. Can sometimes do work early game as well, depending on your deck. And if you're leaning into the zero cost stuff, that can certainly be a good use case for it. Pretty diverse shop here for a lot of people. Most people taking the Echo form and either removing the Doubt if they got it from the Serpent immediately before. Not immediately before, but a couple floors before. One person removing Chaos from the P-Box. One person buying Claw. I wonder who that was. It could be anyone. But yeah, some good stuff in here. Souvenir, Self-Repair, Master of Strat. Can't believe saying bought souvenir and then didn't see a Biascog all run. Isn't that the way? Isn't that the way? Seeing the World of Goop event immediately after the shop. Where were you a floor earlier? And then, yeah, upgrade Static Discharge into Hexa if you can land it before turn 2. Super nice start to the fight. And then just sort of a mixed bag of a bunch of stuff, I don't know, that you could be wanting to upgrade. Skimming over the detail tab here. This is, again, just sort of a, if you want to line by line compare your run with someone else's, the stats are in here. But for a recap stream like this, it's overkill. What did people blue key? Strike dummy early on. After a P-box swap, I mean, yeah, you don't really have strikes left. All your Seed of the Week runs have the weirdest shop lines. Hell yeah. A bunch of people getting to key Tiny Chest, always satisfying. Another strike dummy. I can't remember if Sans Nickel swapped on this one or not. A couple people keying the Shuriken. Presumably they did not try to go for claw builds. How many people bought Master of Strategy from Act 1 shop? 2. Exactly 2. And also just, again, if you want to follow along or check these things on your own, you're always welcome to. Okay, some people keying Shuriken, keying Orichalcum with Frost Focus. Like, I can understand it if, again, if you're in a strong enough state that you don't need the extra buffer there, especially by, mid-act 2. Sounds like a certified swap hater. Guess not, then. This dummy was so tilting, you key strike dummy because swap, and the next floor is Thunderstrike with the Tempest in the deck. Let nobody ever tell you that the Spire does not have a sense of humor. Don't need it when you're a ghost. Also fair. But by the same token, I don't know. Like, if you have Frost, I guess you don't need it when you're a ghost. Before you have Frost up, then it can be like prevent chip. But I guess by then you almost certainly have enough Frost in the deck that's a non-issue because you are the defect. Thread and Needle, kind of similar token to Orichalcum. In that sense, serves similar purposes, even if not quite the same way. And then just the stuff that people had to key. Relic stats. So as we saw before, the swap box, everyone got the same thing. An end of Act 1 box, everyone also got the same thing. These base, and then, if you had one extra Strike or Defend in your deck, you got a Hello World, and one extra beyond that, you would also get a Thunderstrike. This is a relatively kind box, I would say, going into Act 2. Electro, as we talked about before, great for a lot of Act 2 AoE fights. Darkness as sort of like a complement to that of if Electro is your sort of like Bwom for hallways and burst stuff down, letting a Dark Orb cook can help for longer fights and be a damage solution for bosses, especially if you have a recursion or something to keep it around for longer. Melters, whatever. Boot Sequence, nice card. Amplify, there were a lot of self-repairs flying around on this seed. Good chance that you had one by the time you open this box. Fission can be depends on how much orb gen you really have in your deck. It can be anywhere from like brilliant, amazing acceleration to a largely dead card. Hello World, a little bit kind of at its worst in Act 2 a lot of the time, I find. I like it early game because most of your deck is just like any random common is arguably better than just like a strike or defend that you would be drawing. And late game, a lot of defect commons become more powerful as the core of your deck becomes more powerful, of like Hologram is as good as the best card you can hologram with it, or the best card you can bring back with it. Turbo is as good as the best extra card that you can play with the added energy. Cool-Headed is as good as however much focus you have for the Frost and whatever card you can draw into with it, and so on and so forth. So it's sort of a like, it pops off late, it pops off early, but in the middle of a run, I find it can be a little bit more of an awkward play. But it's fine. It still does work. Can absolutely do work. Thunderstrike is sort of a either great or dead. Usually more dead, but sometimes you have things to help it pop off. Who knows? Yeah. Other stats: VM with the best Nunchaku doing claw things. Zool with the best inserter doing stall things, presumably. Sven clicking on the most cards for the most fish value. Zool actually being able to make the blue candle do something. Who knew? Most people actually getting Tiny Chest to do something other than just replace itself later. Really, really epic, fantastic relic there. P-Box we just talked about. Most people using all their Wing Boots charges. Bag of Prep, it's a good relic. Whetstone, if you get it from Niao, it just gives you 2 strikes. Otherwise, some people got decent hits. Melter, Go for the Eyes are solid. Cold Snap, all for 1. Melter, all for 1. Like, there are some things that can hit. Yeah. Orichalcum, 708 Orichalcum block for Magnil. 423 retained with Calipers. A couple T-sets. There was a puzzle in there for some people. Wet Stone, true. Cereal bars with the best Shuriken. Again, Team Claw. I think Cereal bars was Team Claw. Would make sense anyway. Boot beaten out by 1 entire Shuriken proc. Unlucky. Banana saving 435 with a membership card. Is 1.5 old coins good? Anybody happen to know? Gremlin Horn getting a good deal of use from a bunch of folks. Frozen Core, only 1 person taking it, but performing pretty darn well. Similar with Ornithopter, 4 procs, 1 proc, whatever. 8 potions lost, unlucky. But, sometimes you don't need the potions to win, especially if you have a solid belt when you click it up. Strange Spoon with Apparitions, 68 cards not exhausted. That's pretty wild. Tungsten Rod saving 51. There's a Jason joke in there somewhere, but I can't think of it right now, so I won't. White Beast showing up right near the tail end just to do a thing. 4 or 5 extra relics with Black Star, serviceable, especially considering that it showed up late. Meat on the Bone healing 96, that is several hit points. Golden Idol for 220. Jason Seed, yeah, with the floor 4 evil gremlin gang and the Tungsten Rod, true. Golden Idol doing Golden Idol things. Not the biggest Frozen Eye numbers in the world. 143. Respectable. Regular Pillow, useless. Omamori, useless. Unseasoned Top, useless. Lizard Tail, garbage. Look at all of these horrible relics, you guys. Terrible, terrible, terrible stuff. Anyway, that does appear to be the sheet. Unless anybody has other sort of closing thoughts or questions. Sorry, my nose is still bugging me from the cat just aggressively rubbing her face on me earlier. Boot bought the calipers. Based. Yeah, relic order can get kind of weird sometimes. If you are supposed to get a relic that you can't get for whatever reason, which could be because it's too late in a run. Some things like Wing Boot specifically won't show up anymore after a particular floor, or if it's a bottle and you don't have any cards of that type, or if it's an additional rest site relic after you already have 2 rest site relics. You can't have 3. You can't have all 3. Rest site relics being Shovel and the Toke, Peace Pipe, and Giria. So there are a few situations where a relic becomes illegal, and if you would see an illegal relic, then it pulls from the back of the relic queue instead of the front of the relic queue, which is why you can occasionally see some people finding a relic in a chest or from an elite, while other people bought that same relic in a shop. It doesn't happen super often, but it can happen. Spire under the hood rules are a little awkward at times, but it works. Don't see it in the sheet, but recommend Weather Dax run, especially the Act 4. Are GA stats not in history? Oh, there was a GA this seed. I just forgot to run the script for it. I can do that now, actually. If you want to see my terrible spaghetti code under the hood shit. No, not that. There's a metascaling sheet in here somewhere. Where is the thing? Where's the fucking... What did I call it? Oh, get improvable cards, because of course I can't name things in a consistent way. And now we wait. Yay. For me not remembering to run scripts before the stream. I get the strange spoon stats user oh, right, because I have this set up on the main sheet, but not the copy of it that I make for these things, which means it's extra slow and I have to verify the bullshit because technology is garbage. Okay. Now we can look at the... Well, only 2 people took a GA, and I don't know why the chart isn't showing up with it. But, yeah, only 2 people with Run History Plus took a GA, Banana and VM. Other people may have clicked it, but, yeah. And the language is, it's technically AppScript, but it's JavaScript with a bunch of extra, like, Google Sheets API-related things of, like, you know, the files thing is like to grab Google Drive files specifically. You know, get sheet by name obviously is a spreadsheet specific function, but it's JavaScript that you write in. It's actually like this AppScript stuff. I recommend it for anyone who likes just doing like little hacky bits of code for various things, because it's very easy to just get up and running with it and write, you know, either small things or increasingly complicated things like all the parsing for this spreadsheet or anything in between, and you don't have to worry about like, you know, deployment pipelines or anything like that. You just, you know, click the run button and then it works. So it gives you a lot of nice affordances that can let you get something up and running quickly and with minimal effort. You can also extend it. You can even make like APIs with it. That's how a lot of my I don't know, like this thingy is using Google Apps Script under the hood. I have a spreadsheet with all of the, like, all the HP values of everything, and then I have that set up as an API thing behind the scenes here. So Nightbot makes a call over to that API and comes back. Yeah, let equals var. Yeah, I'm lazy with that stuff, but whatever. I didn't expect people to be looking at the code, so it works. It gets the job done mostly, except when I fuck up sometimes, but then it's close enough. So whatever. It is close enough for what it needs to be used for, and I did not want to write an actual proper website from scratch. The pronouns extension, need to do. I can't remember the last I checked. Yeah, so the short links there, the pronouns /Firefox and pronouns /Chrome, those links are deprecated now. But if you just Google it, there are extensions on the Firefox and Chrome app stores to see people's pronouns. And yeah, and then it's just go to that website and log in with Twitch to set yours. Highly recommend. Yeah, if there is no other thoughts from anyone, I'm going to call it there. Thanks again for tuning in, everybody. Let's see who else is online to raid. I could use Twitch's new raid API. I probably should just get used to that. It's just so slow. Like when you click the raid channel button now, it like takes a million years to load, and it shows me a bunch of people who like I don't know first. All right, well, we're saying this is a Jason seed. Let's go say hi to Jason. He is rotating. Looks like Silent is up right now. So we will go say hi to him. As always, best of luck if you have not already done your Seed of the Week runs this week for Ironclad and you plan to. Also, plugging if you are at all interested in puzzle games, WETT and I have been co-oping on Talos Principle 2, so that will be happening. Again, I don't know exactly when, in the not too distant future. It is, yeah. It's a fun game, and hopefully a few of you guys can hang out. Otherwise, yeah, gonna call it there. Thanks again, everybody. Take care.